The story starts when a group known as the Party leaves the city and enters into the realm of demons. They are specialized in removing the threats of demons each person in the party fights. A powerful enemy based on their powers, some use magic while others employ horrific devils alone. Senademium with dark hair, and usually wearing a hood over her outfit, employed an imp she directed. The imp towards the demon that stood in front of her, and ordered him to defeat him. The imp looked at the demon and raised his hands. Suddenly the demon was by his powers, and it vanished among us. The feeling of accomplishment and pride closed her book of spells, knowing that the task was finished. One of their friends advised Amona-san to join the party, as by having her on the team. They could easily take on higher-ranking quests, however. Before she could say anything, Rooney Cun interrupted them. He objected to having Amona in the team, as she is a girl with powerful skills, who uses demonic power in according gone. This is nothing short of disrespect. He added that apart from the fact that she's a part of Shin, a Demium race, the more important fact is that he cannot stand to be in the same group with such an unusual being. Their friend continued and spoke to Rooney Cun that they all are friends now, and there is no point in arguing. Their friend then directed her attention toward Amona and offered to throw a welcome party for her later. However, Amona refused the offer with the excuse that Roni K the priest would also be there. Rune was quite offended by such remarks from Amon's side, and he confronted Amona for such remarks. Their friends watching this were doubting whether both of them, Rooney and Amona, will get along, but one friend assured all the others that they will be all right if they both get a chance to spend some time together. However, when Amona and Rooney K shared a room later that night to settle their differences, they ended up sharing love with each other. Both of them were quite embarrassed and confused about how did this happen. Alona lay on the bed while Rooney sat on the bed. Both were facing the opposite direction. The next day, Ron Cage and Amona were walking together in the market when Rooney offered Amona to carry her stuff, as he suggested to her she might be really tired from sharing love last night. However, Amona refused the offer and told Rooney to be distant from her, as he was making it really obvious. Their friends, seeing that both Rooney and Amona are getting together well, were really happy. Ron K entered the shop to get some ointment for himself. As the shopkeeper handed him the ointment, he saw that Amona had also come after him and was standing behind him. He inquired whether she was following her. She denied it and asked Rooney why does he need the ointment when he could heal himself. Ron K became furious and defensive and told her that he needed the ointment for the hints of love that she had given him last night. Amona told him with a slight expression of awkwardness how he expected her to share love in his sacred way. Rune, being a priest, was quite offended by this statement, but Amona continued, saying that Ronnie should also refrain from taking care of himself after making love, as it gets really awkward. However, Ron replied innocently that he was just doing his duty as a priest to take care of himself. They both were conversing so loudly that the whole town could hear them. It was at this moment one of their friends interrupted them and advised them that if they wanted to talk about certain things, they should go to the inso, as is not to make a scene in the town. Later that day, the whole party went to a forest to take care of themselves up. However, one of their friends had figured out that Rooney and Amona had shared love last night, and she was thinking about it. She was having so many thoughts and questions as to why Rooney, being a priest, did such a thing, as she thought that her eyes landed on the huge melons of Amona, and she couldn't help but notice that they were really big. She told Amona that now she understood why Rooney shared love with her, as she had a huge melon. However, Amona refused and told her that she had no intention of wanting Rooney to share love with her. Amona told her friend that besides, what Rooney really likes is his own melons being massaged. While both of them were talking, Rooney the priest was sitting distant from them with his back to the tree. He seemed quite demoralized by the fact that he had shared love and wanted to refrain from this happening ever again. He started to meditate and not to think about what had happened. His meditation was being disturbed by his friends commenting on Amon's huge melons. Ronnie, who did not want to think about it, could not take it anymore. He tried to convince himself that this was just a trial and needed to pass every test. He wanted to free his spirit and be one with nature. It was at this moment that heard Amona telling her friend to see what was wrapped around her, as it felt slimy. Rune couldn't help imaging what it may look like. He thought to himself again that this was a test, and he needed to remain steadfast as he erased the images from his mind. Later that day, the party faced a demon, and Amona called her Imp. Her imp is basically a devil, and he knows information that humans don't. However, he is bound to always share this information with her master at times of need, such as now. As the imp came, he told Amona that the priest is really in a mood to share love. Right now, Amona became furious as they were facing a demon at the moment, so she asked the imp for information on the demon. As the imp told her the demon's weakness, she used it to defeat him. After the demons were defeated, they found themselves a treasure. The members of the party were really excited to open the treasure and find what's inside it. As they opened it, they found a cute outfit in it. As one of their friends picked it up, she realized it would look really great on Amona and offered Amona to change her look, but before Amona could reply, Rune shouted that she should not take it as this costume is really cute. Rune was concerned about his thoughts because as a child he always had issues with girls dressing up in cute costumes. However, later that night Amona tried on the outfit as the imp told her that Rune the priest would really like to see her in this look. She had just stepped outside when the priest saw her in the outfit and was at a loss for words. Amona asked him how she looked in this new outfit, but Rune couldn't control himself. They both shared their love. The next day the party was involved in yet another quest. It was ancient ruins. It may be ruins, but the technology of the ancient civilization was still working. Amona, San, and Rune were stuck inside one of the rooms for quite some time. They were not attentive and got stuck. However, the main point was that their friends Haru and Yuri were outside, and that they had gone to look for a way out to get Amona and Rune out. However, with no luck, they were unable to find another entrance or exit to the room. In addition, it was now to Rone and Amona to do something to find a way out. Amona was sitting on the floor facing Rune, who seemed quite lost in thoughts. He was afraid that if they both happened to be stuck inside this place for so long, he would have thoughts. Hence, to change the atmosphere, he asked Amona why she wanted to be an adventurer alone. His imagination rushed back to her past when she was young, and her teacher had told her that she was beyond teaching and that she would be alone. However, she quickly tried to revert her mind back to reality and told Rune that the main reason was that she had started to defeat demons for a living. Hence, it was normal for her. She inquired the same question from Rone, as she too was afraid of her thoughts. Rone, who was a priest, told her that it was his natural duty as a priest, and hence it made sense. However, before he could finish his sentence, the imp interrupted them and inquired about their personal lives. Amona was furious that the imp had come out on its own when she hadn't even called him. In addition, the imp defensively told her that he was wondering the same thing as to why she didn't call him and ask for help, as he could have easily used his powers and made a way to get out. Rone was shocked and astonished at this statement, knowing the fact that they could have been let out a while before, and yet they're still stuck. But before he could say anything, the imp continued his sentence and told them that for providing them with a favor, he would need a cost of the same value. Romcom was now quite confused. He didn't know what cost was the imp talking about. Amon explained that using the imp's power comes with consequences. It's a major rule. To using his powers, one has to compensate for something in equal correspondence for the power. And the knowledge that the imp provides is a type of a contract in addition for using the imp power. Right now, to help them, she has to pay, and the imp tack takes 1 herb each time he helps. Ro was quite shocked by this statement, as he had been curious as to what the price would be, and upon finding that the imp was satisfied at just 1 herb, he told Amona that it was a really small price. However, the imp got offended and told Rune that he likes herb a lot, and he finds it very tasty. In addition, Amana offered the imp 2 sheets of herb to help them go out of the room. However, the MC men satisfied and told them that herb would not be enough this time, and that he required something more special. He asked them to share love in front of him as a price for his knowledge and power. Both Amona and Rune were quite shocked by this request of the imp, and they expressed their concerns. However, the imp told them that he knew it all because of all the people surrounding them all the time and asking them questions every time. Both of them have been able to share their love for each other. The imp used his powers and prepared some furniture for them to share their love. Both Amona and Ron refused his request. However, the imp told them to enjoy themselves and vanish later. He appeared at quite a distance, commenting on what they were doing. Lona was questioning herself and assuring herself that the imp can't be trusted, bad being. She was also wondering if it was rather true that both of them hadn't been able to share their love for each other for so long, and it would mean that both of them now would really like to share their feelings. However, she wanted Rune to do it first, and she persuaded him. The imp was commenting on the tactics of Amona, who was trying to persuade Rune to share his love. However, Rune took his fabric and covered his eyes so as to escape the thoughts that he was having. This made Amona have thoughts of sharing love as well. The imp was still commenting on everything and was rather enjoying himself. It was now a competition as to who would share their love first. Alona started to verbally challenge and request Rune to share his love, and it was at this moment that Rune couldn't take it anymore. He took his blindfolds off and came close to Amona. Amona couldn't take it anymore watching Rune. She made up her mind, and they both shared their love for each other. The competition was over. Amona had won as the imp request had been fulfilled. He ate his task and vanished right at that moment. When both of them had completed sharing their love, the door opened, and in came Haru and Yuri. They were really pleased that the door had opened, but meanwhile Haru also inquired as to what they were doing and why the bed was all messy. The imp was presenting Amona and Rune pillows with yes/no written on them. It made them to make it easier for a moment and Rune to share love if one wanted to share love, he would have the yes pillow, otherwise the no pillow both Amona and Ron took and showed. The no pillow to the imp, however, watching such a clever display of intellect by their side. The imp then said that he invokes the change pillow, meaning that all the match pillows will now flip to the opposite no pillows, turning to yes pillows. Rune was shocked at such an act and invoked his own pillow, which would work as a trick for match pillows. The imp was confused as to what the match pillows would do. When Amona threw the pillow at the imp, he was taken by surprise and he fell on the bed, yet quite pleased with himself, as they had fulfilled his request and had shared love. The party had reached the barrier city of Taya. They were all enjoying a nice cup of tea. As it had been days that they had time off their job, they thanked God for having a peaceful time. However, they were interrupted by something. An arrow came close to him and landed on the chair. The arrow had a note attached to it which said that tonight someone will come for you. Everyone was quite shocked and became more curious as to who the note might be from. Amona flipped the note and found the signature to be of the Fluid Gamer. At this moment, a guy appeared right in front of them. He introduced himself as the Gates of the Special Knights, and that he was handling the cases related to Fluid Gamer. He knew that Rooney had been set as the next person to take the Fluid. Amona was getting confused and asked what was the purpose of this Fluid Gamer and why she took Fluid. The Gates of the Special Knight told them the legend of the Fluid Gamer. He said that she's a person with high demands who interrupts the city. No one really knows who she is, but everyone knows her goal, which is pointing towards young and weak youngsters to take their Fluids. Rooney was quite shocked by this statement, as he was also the next person for the Fluid Gamer. However, the guard advises Rooney not to be afraid, as he is going to protect Rooney at all costs, and is going to guard him. However, Amona thought this was really funny for Rooney to be guarded, but Haru chimed in and told Amona that Rooney had all the rights to be guarded and treated right, as he was a really nice and kind-hearted person. However, Amona realized and quickly agreed. The guard knight told the party that they would be getting help from the monastery as well, hence he advised them to go there and plan what would they be doing. As they entered the monastery, people were staring at them with curious and weird looks. However, the monastery was guarded by a lot of guards. It was all the measure the night guard took to defend Ronnie and guard him. He told them that while it may seem that the preparations are a lot for just one gamer, but all of these are done because there are rumors going around saying the reality of the Fluid Gamer is basically a dream model. Ronnie was astonished at this thought. However, the guard knight reassured him that the city is guarded from demons by something special. It is a magical artifact which produces a barrier that won't allow the demons to enter through it, considering the fact that a demon might get through the barrier somehow would cause a lot of trouble, and it won't be a long time before they get caught. Rune had thoughts of a Fluid Gamer being caught. Haru looked quite confused, and she asked Yuri, what is this fluid, as she had been wondering about it for so long, and it has had her confused too. Explained that basically it is worth all the man's life savings, a seed for the source of life. After hearing such comments from Yuri, Haru now seemed very cautious, as something this important must be protected at all costs. She also advised Rooney to take care of himself and to preserve it. Rooney felt quite uncomfortable by the mention of fluid again and again. However, their conversation was interrupted by Lillian, who was a nun, and Rooney knew her as they both had shared the same orphanage when they were young, but he was rather puzzled seeing her there, as he did not know she worked in this monastery. Leland expressed his concern to Rooney about him, looking quite worried as he always had followed the right path. Meanwhile, Yuri looked quite interested in Rooney and the feelings Amona had for him, as to how she's feeling when other people are taking interest in Rooney. Amona, however, couldn't care less. She told Yuri that what they had was something casual. Though they were sharing love with each other, they were really not that serious about their feelings at all. She was also questioning herself that she was positive, as they had not started sharing their love because none of them were serious. Rather, it would be kind of weird to her if only she was the one who thought they were serious, while Rooney would be of some other view. Later that night, the Fluid Gamer arrived. So far, Rooney the priest is the next target of the Fluid Gamer, and all his friends are trying to protect him. They're indulging him in various exercises and intensive training to not give up his fluids to the Fluid Gamer. He needs to develop a strong will. On the other side, Leland has made tea for everyone and is going around offering them a cup of tea to pay for all the hard work that they are doing. She offers the party tea as well and advises them to take it, as it will make them feel relaxed and more focused. She particularly hands Ron the cup and praises him for all the hard work he has done for years. However, Amona thought the fact that there was nothing serious between them both is quite infuriated by the presence of Lillian around Rooney. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in the window. Lillian got quite scared and called everyone out to look for themselves. The party was now on their feet. Haru, Yuri, and Gate the guard were all very cautious and thought it best to pursue the shadow. They went to look for it and catch the Fluid Gamer. However, As they approached the place where the shadow had appeared, what they found left them speechless. It was an old man wearing the outfits of a girl. None of them had accepted it to be an old man. Their thoughts were rather much more different. But before they could say anything, the old man, realizing how bad the situation looked for himself, started explaining that the reason he was wearing such outfit was because he was paid by a girl to have this look and walk around the monastery. Alas, they realized it was planned, that they had been tricked, and they had yet fallen for that trick. On the other side, Rooney was in his room, where the fluid gamer had arrived. She was just about to take his fluid when she realized that there was nothing left for her to take. Feeling puzzled, she looked up and found Amona staring at her. Amona told her that she wouldn't be able to take any fluid from Rooney. She continued expressing her surprisingness that she never thought that the fluid gamer would be someone so close, someone who knew Rooney so well. It was Lillian. She was the fluid gamer, however. Lillian was more focused on the fact as to why is there no more fluid left. Amona answered her question by telling her that she thought it better to take all of Ron's fluid so that the fluid gamer wouldn't be able to have a single drop of it. She then explained that she was doubting Lillian from the first second she saw her. She knew Lillian had made the guards lose their consciousness by giving them and had created a diversion for everyone to go check out so that she could accomplish her mission. The only question she had was the fact, why is Lillian being a good person after people's fluid? However, Lillian was quite offended by such comments, and she defended herself by telling Amona that it was all for the purpose of saving people. She took the fluids of young people who had never used those fluids, as it had nowhere to go. She did it all for a good purpose. She was rather amused by the fact that Rooney had a hard time interacting with the opposite gender, hence he was the perfect candidate to take fluid. However, she had never even imagined Roon be serious in sharing love with a demium. Amona was now offended at such a statement. She told her that what they had was nothing serious, and as far as Ron's fluid was concerned, it all belonged to her. At that exact moment, the door opened, and in came Gate. Yuri and Haru. Lillian rushed to the window and tried to run away. However, she warned them that once she had made someone as a goal to get their fluid, she would take it no matter what. Everyone, including Gate, was surprised yet astonished to see that the fluid gamer was none other than Lily and herself. However, as soon as she left, everyone directed their attention to Rooney as he looked weak, and Gate was of the view that he had got his fluid taken by Lillian and hence had become very weak, but Roon assured him and his friends that nothing had happened. As a matter of fact, Amona rescued him by taking his fluid so that there would be none left for the fluid gamer to take. However, Gate the guard was having difficulty believing that Romy was all right. He was of the view that Ronnie fluid had been taken by the fluid gamer, and he was not telling the truth. Moreover, he really wanted to say the word fluid aloud. The party was faced with yet another challenge and quest. This time their quest involved a small group of orcs who were disturbing people on the roads. However small, yet they were quite powerful. The party had to retreat as one of their members, Har, was not feeling well, as if branch of tree fell on her head, hence they had to return. But with the orcs following them, it was rather impossible. Amona suggested that they all take Haru and get out of there while she held the orcs back. But as soon as they were almost out of sight, Amana fell down and was captured by the orcs. Roon was now furious with himself that he couldn't protect Amona. He was worrying about her. Yuri was of the view that orcs are not generally good, but they do not hurt women, so saving Amona is still possible. However, orcs do share their love. Ronnie, upon hearing this, got lost in his thoughts about Amona. As he did, he really wanted to share his love with her. Yuri was standing right beside him. Upon realizing this, she became very furious that Roni was having such thoughts at a time of such difficulty. However, Roni cleared himself by saying that he was rather thinking about the orcs, of how he does not like them a bit. Meanwhile, Amona was with the orcs. However, the orcs were rather nice and were throwing a welcome party for Amona. Hona was not enjoying herself, as she was rather under the impression that the orcs were rough, and she did not expect them to be so kind to her. Her assumptions were cleared by the orcs, who told them that humans often considered orcs in that way, but it couldn't be more far from the truth. He told her that humans are of the view that orcs often make weird noises and give people their fluid, but they can't even say that without laughing. They are rather different and really want to know more about Amona. Amona thought that it was better to converse with the orcs for now and BYY some time, as she had sent her in to call for help. Haru finally woken up and was really disappointed with herself for not defeating the orcs. However, the whole party was determined to find a way to rescue Amona. It was at this moment they heard a rustling sound coming from the bushes. It startled them, and Haru threw something in the bushes, but it was the imp that had come to call for help. Haru apologized and inquired why wasn't he with Amona. It was by then that the imp revealed he had hidden himself as an orc to save Amona and call for help. However, he got too tired of hiding himself, as the orcs were asking him too many questions. As he had created the story, he was a prince who had been turned into a nice girl because of magic. However, this was all irrelevant To Rooney, who wanted to save Amona without wasting even a minute as he was having thoughts of sharing love with her on the other side, Amona was telling the orcs how rude Rune is and how thoughtless he is. As the orcs seemed to be in a mood to chat, she thought it best to converse with them. They sympathized with her, telling her that they are disappointed as a man to know how Rooney treats her. The orcs thought that Amona was a nice girl and everyone would feel her attractiveness. They assured her that she was full of greatness and how bad Rooney is for leaving her. Amona, on the other hand, was also realizing that she had formed a wrong opinion of the orcs. She told them that she thought after she was caught she would be treated badly and the orcs would share love with her. This confused the orcs. They thought that Amona is not thinking straight. They were going to share their love, but before doing so, they wanted to chat with her so that they could get to know how great of a person she was. They thought it was not decent to share love with a person after just catching them. Eventually, they said it was time to get the party started while making weird noise and told her that they will share their love with her and give her the fluids. It was at this moment that the rest of the party heard the loud noise. It sounded like Amona. Rooney had traced her and was going to save her alone, despite the fact how tough it might be. Amona had used her magic on one of the orcs, which made the others feel afraid and come close to her to make her stop using magic. Amona thought that she was too weak to use magic without consulting her spell book. The orcs were coming close to Amona, but suddenly they stopped as they saw that the guards of the entrance were running away. As they inquired about it, they saw that every other orc was also running away from the entrance and were fleeing. What they saw made them afraid. They saw that Rooney was using his magic at the entrance, and he looked like he wanted to share his love with the orcs, which made them worried, and they ran. As all the orcs ran away, Rooney saved Amona. Amona was also quite pleased with Ronnie that he had been able to save her single-handedly. As they both came close, Amona realized that Rooney wanted to share love with her. Rooney read her mind and defensively told her that he was not trying to think of such thoughts. However, saw straight through his lies and asked him to share his love in the exact manner that he thought the orcs would do. A while later, Haru and Yuri had also came. They seemed really as both of them were all right and had defeated the orcs. However, Yuri thought that they didn't look all right as they had shared love and looked rough. It was yet another day, and the members of the party were enjoying themselves inside a bar. They were drinking and congratulating each other for completing yet another quest. Amona and Rooney were sitting facing each other. Alona was having thoughts to share of her love with Rooney. As her foot came close to him, Rooney got the hint as he stood up and excused to go to his room, making the excuse that he had enough to drink. As he went back to his room, Yuri was sure that they both were making excuses to share love. She predicted that in a while Amanda would also get up and go to her room. Sure enough, minutes later, Amona stood up and told everyone that she was quite sleepy and went to sleep. Yuri was rather curious as to why both of them weren't getting tired of sharing love. She was involved in these thoughts when a familiar voice asked her how she is doing. It is her boss, and he was praising Yuri for all the good work she was doing. He's proud of being her former boss. However, Har, being the humble girl she tells him that it is all because of Roan and Amona. Since they joined the party, they are able to take on difficult quests. This reminded the boss of Roan and Amona, and he whispered to Yuri to tell them both to keep their feelings down when they share love, as all the other customers can hear them. He was of the view that it becomes awkward sometimes when someone is with a female and hears these noises. However, Yuri didn't seem interested and wants her boss to convey his message himself. But the boss is not comfortable doing this, as he thought it would be much better if a friend said this to them. As Haru is unaware of the fact that both Amona and Rune are sharing love, it makes Yuri the perfect candidate to ask for help. The next day, Yuri is looking for Amona, and she found her in the bar wearing uniform. Yuri is quite confused as to why she was in the tavern's uniform. However, Amona cleared this confusion by telling her that she works here part-time, as the things that are required for her to use her powers and to use the power of the imp require money. Hence, she earns by leaning around this place. In addition, she wanted to know why was Yuri looking for her. She wanted Yuri to tell her quickly, as she was on her break and didn't want to waste her time. As soon as Yuri shared her thoughts about keeping their feelings down, Amona was really embarrassed and shocked. She tried to deny it by saying she had no idea what she was talking about, but Yuri knew better. She didn't want to get between them and considered it none of her business, but she was of the view that they were sharing love a lot, so much that today even the boss had said. So Amona confessed instead that they were sharing it about 3 times a week. Yuri was having trouble processing it. The thought of sharing love 3 times a week meant almost every other day. However, Amona replied defensively that it's not always the same. Yuri couldn't care less, even the imp, for telling her about the new ways they are sharing love these days, but Yuri was least interested. Later that day, Roni was enjoying some juice when he saw Yuri, and he offered her some too. However, Yuri was amazed at the fact that Roni enjoyed juice, but Rune cleared the confusion by telling her that juice is recognized in churches because of its traditional taste. However, Yuri continued the same topic she was having with Amona, which made Rooney awkward as well, and tried to defend himself in the same manner that Amona had. However, later he appealed to Yuri to keep this as secret, as he knew he was not doing a good thing, and it would ruin his reputation as a priest. However, this was not Yuri's intention. She just wanted them to keep their feelings a little low, and to reduce the amount of times they share love. Ron agreed with her, as he thought that it was not decent for a priest to be sharing love 4 times a day. Yuri was now sh and looked disbelieved as she thought that Amona had lied and told her the number wrong. Yuri felt tired. She couldn't take it anymore. She was full of thoughts as to why she had to listen about them sharing the love, as she was 100 years old and had never shared love. Perhaps the reason was that she had seen multiple incidents or heard about it multiple times of people sharing love and eventually turning against each other in the end. However, in this case, she wanted to be proven wrong. She thought she would better tell them what could happen to warn them. As Yuri was sitting thinking about these things, Haru joined her and then sat right in front of her. She was of the view that because Yuri was talking to everyone, she might have been next. And there she is. Yuri politely corrected her. However, Haru continued and told Yuri how much Rooney had changed in the recent time as she remembers back. Then Rooney would not even shake hands, as he considered it to be a bad habit to shake a woman's hand. He would even not look at Yuri, as he thought she looked like one of his instructors. He used to be rude. However, since Mona joined the party, Rooney had started to open up a lot. Haru's comments about the changes in Rooney seemed to convince, as she agreed with it, and thought that if the sharing of love between Rune and Amona has such positive changes, then maybe she could give them a break. She was just about to apologize to them when she saw that both of them were sharing their love once again. However, before she could say anything, both of them came up with the excuse that this was the last time they were sharing their love for the week. But Yuri wasn't interested again. She left, closing the door behind her and minding her own business. In another quest, the party is facing a giant bad lizard demon who is quickly crawling on the wall. Amona had called her imp, and she wants to get the lizard down so that she can use her magic to defeat her. Alas, the lizard used its bad breath on Amona, and her melons became visible. Ron stayed where he was, as he was starting to get thoughts, and his stick was moving. However, Amona was okay. She wasn't her, as Rooney had done resistance magic on her before, though her outfit might not have been a perfect candidate for accepting such magic, as it didn't work on it. However, now they were faced with a greater issue. They were given the task of defeating demons in this mind and clearing it out. But without Amon's fabric, it would be wrong in different types of ways. Amona was quite disappointed at these remarks. However, her imp came to the rescue and offered to create a stylish fabric for Amona. The party was pleased by such a gesture of imp. The imp suggested a cute dress made up of hearts for her. However, she refused the imp's offer, as she thought the dress wasn't made for her. She would prefer defeating demons without her wings rather than having the looks that the imp designed. However, Romy offered his fabric to Amona, telling her that she could have it and was having another fabric, so it would not matter a lot if he had it or not. Amona took the fabric and was very thankful. The sides were beautiful, but soon after she realized that she had made a mistake, as the dress smelled, and it smelled heavily of its owner's sweat. After taking that fabric, she felt like sharing love with Ronnie. In addition, she thought maybe she is thinking like this because she shared love with Ron yesterday. However, she looked tired and lost in thought. Amona started to inhale the odor coming from the fabric, and it reminded her of Rooney. Rune was talking with Amona, but Mona was too busy to realize this. However, when he confronted her, she became embarrassed, but told him that she has a habit of smelling everything, no matter how smelly the thing. Maybe now Ron seemed infuriated. He inquired what Amona meant by that phrase, as he takes care of himself daily. However, Amona rephrased her sentence and assured everyone that what she meant was people usually smell things and get nostalgic. That's all that she was hoping for. Ron continued telling Amona that her fabric, especially her small fabric, had a nasty smell which made Amona mad as well, but Ron assured her that he liked that smell. They were too busy arguing that they didn't notice the lizard crawl up the wall, and on the roof the lizard used the same bad breath on Rooney, and his fabric had vanished as well. They all returned to where they were staying, and Rune got ready in the look that the imp designed for Amona. The boss asked the party how their adventure had been, but upon seeing how Rune was dressed, he became embarrassed. The party's new adventure quest involved defeating a terrible wild bear that lives in the jungle. Amona had called her imp, and as usual the imp was trying to make the situation easier and comfortable by commenting. Hara told Amona that the local residents here have reported that there have been a lot of accidents by demons on people who live here. People use this route to gather things that are not available in the barrier city, hence their job was to protect those people and defeat any demons before they could do something. Amona was of the view that many parties had tried to defeat these demons, and yet had been defeated themselves. In addition, she was right whenever a brave warrior goes on the quest to beat this demon, they always come back looking different. According to those warriors, they had never seen such terrifying demons before ever in their lives, hence it got its name, the Terrible Bear. However, Haru seems to be interested in what type of a bear the demon really is, but before she could complete her sentence, she saw a cute little bear with wide and cute eyes running towards them while holding a branch of a tree in his little cute hands. The bear advised them to run and leave all their stuff behind. However, he was running too fast as he tripped and fell. The bear was not terrible or terrifying, but rather very cute. Haru could not control herself anymore. As the cuteness of the bear made her love the bear, she started to play with the bear. However, Alona advised her to be careful, as they could be demons who make people lose their guard by their cuteness. Upon hearing this, the imp also got into a really cute outfit and tried to look cute. Ronnie was also having trouble believing the fact that they are the same terrible bears. However, before he could complete what he was going to say, he saw another bear running towards him, demanding to leave his friend alone and offering Rooney to leave all the stuff behind for his safety. Rune also gave up and surrendered to the bear's cuteness. Before anyone knew it, they were offering the bears their food, and Haru was even asking the bear to take her sword, as by selling that he would be able to have some money. However, Amona tried to make everyone come back to their senses. She let them know that what they were doing was wrong, and they should teach these bears a lesson before they do anything. However, others found it to be rather offensive, as they thought defeating such cute bears would be really rude, and they could not let it happen. They thought it better to chase away Amona, just as Amona suspected those were the demon bears who get things by making others fall in love with their cuteness, which makes people offer their support. However, they had no idea that these tricks were of no use to Amona, and she's a brave person who does magic and has been trained to deal with such things. Amona asked her imp whether he knew any magic that would reverse the feelings her friends had for those bears. Unfortunately, the imp reply was a sad one. He couldn't, but there sure was another way. On the other side, Haru and Yuri were looking at the bears as they were really cute. They were offering the bears their own food and were really happy when the bears ate it. However, Rooney just realized what they had done to Amona and was now feeling sorry for it. Haru assured Rooney that once Amona realizes how cute the bears really are, she would also understand love due to the cuteness of the bear was now filling them, and they came close to the bears. Amona had done magic. She had made a feeling enhancement magic, which would mean that their love would overload, causing the bears to run away. She persuaded Rooney to come with her and use his healing magic power. However, Rooney was still mesmerized by the cuteness of the bear and was not paying any attention to Amona. Amona saw the rest of their friends secretly watching from behind a tree. She wished that their friends would be able to defeat those bears. However, Ron's mind was elsewhere. He was having thoughts about sharing his love with Amona, hence he came close to her. Amona advised him to share the love later, as they were rather busy at the moment trying to defeat those bears, but Rooney had made up his mind. He started to share his love with Amona as they were busy sharing love. The bear realized that they were going to be defeated, and hence they surrendered, apologizing, promising not to cause trouble ever again. This time the part is accompanied by another warrior, a knight named Lucan. He seemed pretty eager to defeat some demons. It was a request made to the party to take him along, as he wanted to earn his mood. However, Lucas was being disrespectful. He called Amona by pointing towards her, which made her furious. Ron became agitated when Lucas expressed his concerns to being party with Amona, as it would be a disgrace to his name. Amona was now really frustrated, but she wasn't the only one who was angry. These remarks from Lucas had made everyone angry, even Haru, who now got up and told Lucas to apologize to her, as Amona is her friend and she would not accept such behavior for her. However, Lucas was an arrogant guy, but he too got afraid of Haru and quickly apologized. Harvesting is really scary when she gets angry. As the party reached their destination, they decided to have a break and freshen up a little. Amona was sitting alone while eating her snack. Lucas approached her and told her to meet him. However, when Mona came, she inquired what all the mess was about and what was the reason he called him out. Lucas started requesting to help him, but Amona was getting confused. Apparently, Lucas needed Amona to make Haru fall in love with him, as he too loves Haru. He fell in love, as Haru was the first person in Lucas's life to ever stand up for anyone. His love for her was true, and he knows that Haru comes from a noble family, so it would be a perfect match. However, Hona was unsure about Haru's family background, as the only time she had discussed this was when she told Amona that though she is a knight, her family is in the ruins. In addition, she is also not welcomed by her family, as she ran away from her home to be a knight and defeat demons. However, Lucas found this mysterious life of Amona quite interesting and admired the hardship she has been through. Amona was confused what she had to do And why did Lucas approach her, as she would have the little chance, because she is the newest member of the group. However, Lucas told her that she isn't the only one he has told this. He had even asked Yuri to help him out, but she seemed to look at him in a strange way that made him feel afraid, and he figured that Rooney the priest wasn't up to take a relationship advice. However, Amona was least interested in his story, and to help him out suddenly the imp appeared out of nowhere and took Lucas' side, suggesting to help him. Amona was furious that the imp came out without her calling him. The imp, however, ignored this and continued to help Lucas get his love. According to the imp, he was a professional in couple matchmaking, and he would help Lucas at all costs. Lucas was well determined to win Haru's heart, and he offered goods to Amona as an exchange to help her win his love. Amona agreed, and they had a deal. On the other side, Yuri was concerned about Amona, as it had been a while since she was with Lucas. Harv confirmed that Amona and Lucas had been talking peacefully behind the rock. However, this seemed to make Rooney anxious and worried. He was quite concerned about Amona, as according to him, Amona, left alone with Lucas, was not quite good, as he had previously said mean things to her. However, Haru confirmed that they looked quite friendly talking with each other right now, and there was no need to be worried. Lucas even gave Amona his goods, maybe as a token for apology. Now Ron was anxious more than before. He thought that maybe Lucas wanted to share his love with Amona, and that's why he was giving her his goods as a token for appreciation. He was having thoughts about sharing love, which made his stick move, and he had been to hide it. However, Haru thought something wrong has been happened with Rooney-kun, and she seemed concerned for him, but Yuri knew that he had thoughts of love that made his stick to move. Meanwhile, Amona and Lucas appeared, and they looked quite happy, apologizing for the delay that they had caused. As soon as Amona saw Rooney and his stick moving, she was concerned, but became more concerned when Rooney asked him questions as to what she was doing with Lucas and whether he messed with her. Amona became concerned that Rooney knew the truth, that Amona was going to help Lucas win the heart of his love. Rooney might have seen Lucas handing him the goods and might have become suspicious. Amona clarified his doubts and told him that they were just having a normal conversation. Lucas asked them all to get moving, and he paid special attention towards Amona, as he thought Amona is the one who is the most valuable for him. As Lucas' eyes met the eyes of Roan and his focused glare, Lucas had a thought that maybe Roan was also in love with Haru and also want to win her heart. Hence, he had gotten a competitor. He had a sudden urge of jealousy from Rooney, and watching that Ron's stick was moving, he became more concerned about Haru, the love of his life. He ought to protect Haru from Rooney. Meanwhile, the imp was enjoying this a lot. Lucas' possessiveness and jealousy for Haru had made him think what true love really is, and Yuri joined in and told her that Lucas even came to her to ask for help. The imp, being the expert in love, told her that he had made a diagram of the love triangle. There is apparently Haru considers Rooney a friend, and Rooney is in love with Amona. Amona is helping Lucas win the heart of his love, whereas Lucas considers Rooney a competitor for Haru's love. In this love diagram that the imp had drawn, Yuri, as usual, had been left alone, as no one was in love with her. Lucas had finally got the chance to be with Haru. Haru was completely unaware of the fact that Lucas was deeply in love with him. Amona had agreed to help Lucas achieve his love in exchange of some goods, while Ron was under the false impression that Lucas and Amona are sharing love. The imp advised Lucas to defeat a demon all by himself in order to be heroic and win Haru's heart. However, Lucas wasn't quite convinced by this idea. The imp explained that it's not going to be a proper demon, it would just be the imp transformed into a demon, and he will act like he has been defeated by Lucas, so as to show the bravery of Lucas. The imp then told Lucas to sound heroic when he defeats him, and then express his love for Haru, as he was a handsome young knight. Haru will accept it and accept his love and share love with him. However, these were not the intentions of Lucas. He just wanted to express his love to Haru, though he thought the plan was a genius one, and they should pursue it, and advised Amona to keep the priest away from Haru. It was at this moment that Rooney, the priest, came out of the bushes looking confused at the fact to what they were talking about. Amona wanted to spend some time with Ronnie K. She had the idea that the party should keep an eye in pairs, allowing Rooney and Amona could spend some time. However, Ron was of the view that they were having a secret conversation and was afraid of the fact that Amona even accepted goods from Lucas. Rune initiated the questions by saying that he saw Amona and Rune become friends and that they are getting along really good. However, Amona disagreed. This seemed to bring back some hope for Rooney, as he continued saying that Lucas is not a good guy, as he messed with Amona at his first interaction, as he is really arrogant and rude, although the fact remained that Rooney also messed with Amona during their first meeting, but perhaps it was because Rooney did not know Amona as a friend that well by then. However, Alona was of the view that Rooney became her friend just to share his love. This statement could not have been more far from the truth, and it infuriated Ronnie. Sharing love With Amona was never Rona's intentions, though Amona was not convinced by this statement of Ron, and she came close to him, which made Ronnie have thoughts of sharing his love. Amona also wanted to do the same thing, hence, she laid down and started to share her love, but Rooney, in order to prove his point, didn't do the same. The imp was moving around Rooney, trying to convince him to share love. He was getting into his head. However, the fact was that Rooney, without a doubt, enjoyed sharing his love with Amona, but he was much more understanding towards her feelings and didn't want to hurt her. He told her that she deserved people much better than Lucas and not to share her love with Lucas. This request seemed very funny to Amona because it had been far from the truth. She then realized that Roni was being way too possessive, and he was in the view that Amona would fall in love with Lucas, leaving poor Ronnie alone. Meanwhile, Lucas was having a great conversation with Haru. Haru apologized to Lucas for judging him and making him apologize to Amona, but according to Lucas, it wasn't a big deal. From a distance, Yuri was watching them, enjoying while eating popcorn and commenting to get things moving. Lucas was curious. Why did Haru become an adventurer while she could have just married a knight, as she came from the family of respectful knights? However, it was because of Haru's dream. Her dream is to find the sacred treasure that is hidden within a dungeon. That treasure is able to create a place where people can live freely and peacefully under a barrier city. Her main aim was to restore the fallen name of her family, and maybe if she could find that sacred treasure, she might get successful. These aims and plans of Haru seemed to impress Lucas even more as he thought of her as an ambitious and a devoted person. Now, however, they were still talking when suddenly something came from the bushes behind them. Lucas, being the brave Magus, came forward, and he held his sword, trying to protect Haru. A giant eagle with a huge eye and his feathers stood in front of him. However, Lucas remembered the plan and showed his bravery by trying to defeat the eagle alone. However, this Amona was really impressed by her imp's transfer, but alas, the EMP was standing right next to her in a quite funny demon costume, saying he had been late as he had forgotten where he placed his transformation goods. The evil demon was standing face to face with Lucas. Lucas, being the brave knight, was trying to protect Haru and defeat this demon all by himself, when suddenly the eagle talons came in contact with Lucas' sword, and it broke, causing him to fell down. Eerie threw her arrows, but it was of no use as the eagle flapped his wings and the wind caused all the arrows to disperse. Hence, it was pretty clear that projectiles won't work against this demon, as it has a wind barrier. This was a unique type of a demon. They had never seen such before, but this did not stop Haru from defeating it, as Haru came close to it and almost defeated it, but the eagle caught her by his talons and defeated Haru instead. Apparently, the one weakness this eagle had was the eye in his jelly. Maybe that was the way to defeat him. Everyone was giving their best, trying to defeat him. Amona, on the other hand, told her imp to call the true name Demon Imp, as it is the only way to defeating this demon, despite the fact that calling him is way too risky and it demands the cost to be a lot. That did as she said and called his buddy to come help them. Meanwhile, Hera was seriously injured and was having flashbacks, remembering her mother coming out of the guest room in the middle of the night. She was very weak. Ron was casting a magic protection shield on her when the eagle came close to him. Luckily, Lucas came to save the woman he loved. He told Rooney to heal Haru quickly while he took care of the eagle demon. Amona was almost done calling the imp's friend. However, suddenly the look Amona was having changed to a cute loaf that Ron admires a lot. This was part of the cost that the imp had foretold. He said that this outfit will make him focus more on his job. Amona had finally called the imp's friend. It was a huge thing with a lot of arms. He was Belfer, the demon of the laziness, and caught the eagle demon with all his hands and defeated the eagle finally. Hence, as the mission had been accomplished, the party went back. Lucas the Mike went back to his family estate where his relative was waiting. She was glad to see Lucas back and was of the view that Lucas had defeated the demon, becoming more experienced than before, but Lucas's thirst for knowledge was yet not complete. This experience had made him realize that he knew very little, hence he should go on more quests in order to become braver and earn his title as the eldest son of the Kian family. The relative was so proud of Lucas she couldn't believe how just one journey had changed him. Lucas prepared for his next quest, bidding the party a goodbye. He wanted to become a great knight, just like Haru, and when he will become, he will come for Haru to express his genuine love for her. As for the others, he apologized Oleg to Amona for messing with her and told Rune not to get ahead of himself. He then left saying goodbyes. The party was happy as they have completed yet another quest safely and was about to celebrate when Amona fell over on the ground. The party was in the guest rooms. Yuri and Haru were talking that the boss had advised them to take a break from questing for the time being. Lona was unconsciously lying on the bed. She had lost her consciousness because it was part of the cost to calling that demon was the fact that it drains the user energy, and Amona had gotten all her energy drained from her. However, the party was curious as to when would she wake up. This was the question that the imp had no answer. Apparently, she could get awake any time where she might not wake up at all a while. Later, Roan came to see how Amona was doing. He was deeply saddened to see her like this and was thinking of a way to wake her up when the imp advised him to share love to her. Sharing the ancient stories of princesses who fell into deep sleep would wake up by an act of true love. However, Remy believed that those were just tales and had no reality whatsoever. Amona muttered something. Her sleep apparently. She was sleep-talking in her dream. Omona's dream was quite unusual. She was in the school wearing a cute uniform, as was being told off by Rooney to have the proper look later. She was in the class that was taught by the imp. He told the class that today they will be having a special lesson, and today they would be sharing love. Amona was at a shock on his statement, but the imp explained that was the school's curriculum, that lessons should be practically practiced by the students in order to attain the right knowledge. Amona was in disbelief, but she saw other people getting ready to share their love and choosing their partners who they will love. Why advised Amona that if she doesn't have anyone to love, she could love Rooney and they could share their love together. Amona was rather surprised upon knowing that Rooney was taking this class, so he explained that he is really bad at sharing love. That's why he is taking this class. According to him, whenever he shares his love with someone, he ends up getting nervous, and it doesn't go very well. He requested Amona to help him, and she agreed. Oma's status screen showed that she is very good at sharing love, but the difficulty for her is to come close to someone. In reality, the imp was also encouraging Rooney to come close to Amona, as they never had to come close, but the interference of the imp seemed to make Rooney uncomfortable a lot. Back in the dream, Amona had agreed to help Rooney on the condition that you would also help him in her homework. However, Rooney was of the view that it is not right for them to be sharing love like this. They should form a commitment. This made Amona uncomfortable as to why was Rooney suggesting this. At the moment, Roan proposed Amona to marry her. He knew it was a huge step to take, but he was determined that Amona is the love of her life, and he needs to form a commitment with her. But Amona was surprised. She told Rooney that they were sharing love just for the lesson, but Rooney a commitment. He thought maybe he was not that good enough for her. Ronnie came close to Amona in her dream, and in reality as well. Amona thought that if he comes close, then they would be in a committed relationship. She was terrified with these thoughts. Then suddenly she realized it was all a dream. As she woke up, she saw Rooney close to her, but Rooney explained that she was sleep-talking, so he tried to listen to what she was saying. At that moment, rest of the party came in and were really glad to see Amona awake. Har was really happy that Amona was all right, as she had been sleeping for 3 whole days. Yuri advised her not to ever call that demon again, because they couldn't afford to lose her. Yuri got up and excused as she wanted to tell the boss that Amona had woken up and to get Amona something to eat. Rooney was also leaving when Amona stopped him and whispered in his ears that tonight they will be sharing 3 days of love. Rooney happily agreed. Amona and Rooney had just shared their love, and Rooney was taking care of himself. Amona was wondering, why does Ron always take care of him soon after sharing love? What might have been the reason? Ron explained that this is a tradition based on an old tradition. He continued by saying that long ago, there lived an evil dragon that messed with small village. In exchange for not messing with any villagers, the dragon had a deal that he would be allowed to share his love with young women. However, one day Hero came along to defeat the dragon. He first changed his look into a girl, then he took care of himself, and to take place of the girls who were to be shared love with. However, upon seeing the hero, the dragon suspected him and inquired whether he really was a young girl. That's when he showed the dragon that he really was a girl. The dragon got convinced and dropped his guards by doing so. The knight defeated the dragon with a surprise, causing peace and harmony to return back to the village. On the other side, the people who gave the fluid to the fluid gamer were being interviewed. Person C was a young blonde man. He tells the story that he was in his bed sleeping when Sue woke up. He saw that the fluid gamer was already there trying to take his fluids. He became very scared and wasn't able to move a bit. He had no thoughts at the moment, and he could do nothing, hence he had no option other than to give his fluid to her. However, person C did enjoy giving, in the fluid. Person to comments were quite the same. He had a partner to whom he was getting married to almost a day before the wedding. The fluid gamer got his fluid. He wasn't able to do anything. He gave her buckets of fluids, and it ended his commitment with his partner. Person G's story suggested that he was really confident that the fluid gamer won't be able to take his fluids because he only likes girls that wear glasses and cat ears. However, it was quite surprising that the fluid gamer was wearing the same outfit when she came to get the fluid, hence he had to give her the fluid on the way back from their last quest of defeating an eagle demon. Rooney and Amona were walking side by side. Amona was wearing her cute dress. Ronnie had only seen her wearing this look when they shared their love, and so it felt weird seeing her in this outfit while doing work. Roon's eyes went on her melon, which was visible from her dress. At the same time, Lucas was offering Amona a cookie, and coming close to hand the cookie to Ron could not allow this to happen. He stopped Lucas before he got close to Amona, pointed at Amon's melon that was popping out. However, Amona was of the view that Ron was staring at her melon, but he explained that he only did so to protect her melon that was popping out. The other day, Amona and Rooney were arguing in the morning. Rooney had told Amona not to use her magic while she is healing up. However, she paid no attention towards it and did what she wanted to do. Haru had enough of both of them arguing and told them to stop it. However, Amona continued, saying that it was essential for her to use the magic to defeat the demons. Haru wanted Yuri to do something, but Yuri suggested to leave him alone. They are really good friends and will figure it out themselves. In the afternoon, Ron and Amona were sharing their love for each other while Rooney apologized to Amona. Basically, Rooney wanted to relive himself of this feeling of guilt that he should apologize to Amona before they share love. He couldn't share his love if Amona doesn't forgive him, but Amona was of the view that she will only forgive him if he shares his love with her first. Later that afternoon, the party was outside. Haru seemed really happy that the AR between Rooney and Ammon had stopped, and they both looked pretty fine now. The imp was making fun of Amona that they are happy because they shared love. Amona made him quiet next. The girls of the party were shopping for outfits in the shop. Haru found some cute outfits and were admiring them. Yuri advised all of them to be careful and not to go off buying too much. However, Amona didn't seem to like this idea, as she thought that a party should always wear fashionable outfits. Amona found a cool-looking outfit. Haru and Yuri were also admiring that outfit and decided to buy it. They realized that they should also buy a pair of outfits for Rune, as a pair of outfits were ruined, and he would need a new one. Yuri asked Amona, "What size of fabric does Rooney have?" Amona started thinking, and she started having thoughts about sharing love with Rune Cun. When the question was repeated, she was brought back to her senses and replied that she had no idea about guys. Later that day, Rooney and Amona were sharing love again when the door knocked. Amona opened it up, and it was Haru. Haru was of the view that Amona had been weakened and needed to eat something to heal. So she asked her would she like anything to eat, but Amona, who was busy in sharing love with Rooney, replied that she didn't want anything right now. Haru asked Rune the same question, which made Amona and Rooney really surprised because Rooney was sharing his love from behind the door. Amona tried to explain what they were doing, but Haru wasn't interested, as she said she knew what happens when a man and a woman share their love together in a room. It made Amona and Rooney even more anxious. However, the reply from Haru seemed to calm him down, as she sent dance, so she had no idea that they were Shar SH in their love, probably because her mother used to do share her love with guests in the same way and call it dancing. Yuri was sitting alone in the cabin thinking of a question that Amona has asked her earlier. Why did she want to become an adventurer? It started when she was young and living in the northern elven forest. She always wanted to leave the forest no matter what happens, and promised for friends that she would leave and form a group of men and bring them here to introduce them to her friends. Yuri couldn't take it anymore. She became really sick, as she had opened some memories that were sealed in her mind. However, Yuri had been an adventurer for a long time and had joined and parted from a number of parties. Haru comforted Yuri that this would be the best party she would have ever joined and made Yuri feel better. But the imp was listening to this and made fun of Yuri by saying that after meeting so many people, she still hasn't shared love with anyone. Yuri got furious and took out her stick, but Amona advised him to apologize to her before it's too late. Later that night, Ronnie was offering juice to Aeon, as he was obsessed with juice. It was also his hobby. He had old ages juice, and he suggested opening one to celebrate Amona's full recovery. He picked up a juice that he got from another city and which was 100 years old. However, after Amona had a drink, she felt quite dizzy. The drink wasn't that strong, but now Amanda stood up and came close to Rooney and asked him to share love to Tess, who the weaker one was. Apparently, after they finished sharing their love, they were interrupted by Haru, who also congratulated Amona on making a full recovery today. They all were presented with juice by Rooney. Haru was curious as to why does the church allow juice, even though is not good. This made Ronnie tell them the story. Apparently long time ago, there was a village facing a terrible situation. People became very thirsty, and life was becoming difficult. During this time, the hero appeared, carrying fruit all over his arms and back from far away. He then squeezed those fruits with his bare hands, and the people quenched their thirst with that juice, and they were saved from the draw in this way. Hence, juice has been known as the hero's fluid since that event happened, as it is sour due to taste of the fruits, and that hero's sweat mixed in it. This comment ruined Jew for every other person, and they stopped drinking as they couldn't handle him. The other day, the party was on another quest in a dungeon. They thought it best to rest there for the day and planned to explore the place afterwards. Ron offered to protect themselves while they relaxed, suggesting all of them to get their energy back. However, as he glanced at Amona's sand, he saw that he was indicating a cross from her fingers. Ron knew something was up and thought that Amona was suggesting notice sharing love today, he started to think why she might have said that he was of the view that maybe she had her own problems and there is nothing he can do to help him. Or another possibility was that he has started to get on her nerves. Rooney knew better to ask her than to judge it all by himself. However, as he approached her, he scared her off. She had no idea what he was doing and was rather scared to see him. He started sharing his point of view with her, that he should be rather more considerate and not always think about sharing love. It was not likely for him to not understand the problems that W faces, and he should be more understanding about it. However, Amona felt disgusted at this thought and clarified to him that it's not all what he thinks. The issue is far greater. She revealed her melon to him, which was shining very brightly. He couldn't believe his eyes, apparently. Before, when Amona was with her friend, she saw a sign saying to press the button if one wants to brighten up. She did not intend to press it, but the imp fell on him by mistake, and mistakenly her melons pressed those buttons. She knew it would be a trick. However, at the moment, there was nothing she could do as her melon started to shine brightly. However, Roni was really considerate and understood her completely. He asked her whether she could fix her with her magic. However, she revealed that this is different sort of magic. Roni suggested having a specialist look at the problem and find a solution to turn her enormous melons back to normal. At the exact moment, the imp appeared, calling himself the super doctor, and that he has the remedy for every problem. However, Amona was not particularly open to getting help from him, as he was the reason she had this problem in the first place. Still, the imp presented them with a fluid that was pitch black, and he put some on Ron's hand. As the imp said, Ron's hand went pitch black from the fluid. Basically, the fluid was composed of dark matter that absorbed light, and whatever it came in contact with will absorb light, hence the perfect solution for the problem that they were encountering. He asked Rooney to rub his hand on the shining melons to darken them up, but Amona saw what the imp was trying to do and saw straight through his story by telling him she could have applied the fluid herself. As well, Ron started to rub on the melon quickly, so as to finish the job before others woke up. The imp was directing Rooney how to rub the melon so that their light will be absorbed. First to move in his circular motion with his palm, then to stretch and roll over the melons while pressing them downwards, and then pulling them gently. It was at this moment Haru woke up and went for the bathroom. Apparently, Rooney had to cover the melons with his hands so as to not attract attention from Haru. He was very rough in pressing the melons, and it was a very enjoyable affair for Amona. They managed to not get caught. Suddenly, they noticed that the light from the melons was gone. The fluid worked despite Amona being in doubt, but this time the M's help really worked. However, Rooney was more focused about the fact that Amona enjoyed it and had given the fluid. Amona got embarrassed and pressed the Ron's melon, with which made him enjoy. As well, the M, seeing that his plan had worked, was also happy. Alas, Amona figures out that it was all the M's plan to first make the melon shine and then provide Rooney with a fluid to press them and make her enjoy. She was rather furious, but the imp seemed to enjoy this and was very pleased with herself. Amona gently pressed the imp to make him realize that what he did was wrong. Rooney and Amona were sharing their love for each other when Amona commented that Roni's was very dirty for a priest. As to the places he had been, she thought to herself that every time they share love, Ron is the one who gets her fluid, and maybe this time it's her turn to get her fluid by her melons. However, an hour passes with Amona trying to get Ron's fluid from her melons, but without any luck. She wasn't able to. She could not wait and wanted to get the fluid badly. At last, she gave up and inquired why won't Rooney give the fluid? Is there any problem with her melons? Later that day, Amona seemed to be in a bad mood. Upon asking, she told her imp the truth that she wasn't able to get the fluid from her melons. Even after 2 hours, Rooney was taking pity on her and telling her to try it next time, and that it not a big deal if she can't get the fluid. She really thought that her melons would make Ree enjoy, but it was of no use. She was busy thinking these thoughts when suddenly a lady appeared from her back, saying no matter how great her melons are, they will do her no good if she doesn't know how to use them. She was the guru of melon art, the grandmaster. She was of the view that Amona had made a blunder, but all was not lost, as she could still do it, and she could see Amona had it in her to make great use of her melons. She offered to instruct Amona on how to use her melons the correct way and asked her to come with her. The grandmaster took a moment at her training ground. The grandmaster told her that true use of melons does not rely on their strength, rather on the flow of energy that the melons conceal within themselves. She instructed that once she masters the melons, she could even twist a spoon with them. How Amona decides to use the power of melons Depends on her after the training is over. She had in mind that she will use her melanon rune to get his fluid. So began the training of the melons. Amona used to press her melons on a stick and move the melons up and down. She used to roughly shake them and rub them by 10 reps of 3 sets in 1 second. She was working very hard. A few days later, she had reached the position where she can even twist a cup press between her melons. The Grandmaster had nothing but praises for Amona of how she had done a great job, and there was nothing left for her to train. However, the most important thing still remained the fact that one should be sincere for his partner to enjoy and feel good. If one mistakenly stays away from this rule, they will find themselves lost in the power of melons later. That day, and the party were protecting the farm of fabric. Their job was to guard the farm at all costs. Ron suggested that they split up in pairs of 2 and patrol around to check everything is okay. As soon as Haru and Yuri left, Amona V to her knees and asked Rune to share their love. Rune was not quite open to this idea at the moment, because he thought it best not to share love when they were guarding the farm, but Amona persuaded him by telling him it would be a quick 1 session. Amona really wanted to get the fluid as she started to prepare for it by showing Rooney the melons. However, this continued persuasion made Ron afraid. He told her no doubt she wasn't great the last time, but seeing her try and doing her best was really cute, and that was something special. But now he felt like she was pushing to an extent. It was at this moment Amanda remembered what the Grandmaster had told her about the partner feeling good, and she realized she should accept it. She apologized as she was getting worked up to take the fluid. However, she wanted to make it absolutely clear that she was able to take the fluid, just didn't want to do it now the party were again given the quest of the dungeon, quite an old one, so old that they were having trouble believing that they were in the right place. Their quest involved retrieving a treasure that lay in the depths of the dungeon. However, by the looks of it, it seemed quite impossible that they would find anything here. Amanda was not looking too good. Upon being asked by Rooney, she told him that there are traces of calling devil everywhere in this dungeon, and maybe someone like her might have been using this place to perhaps help people, or they could have been using it to create problems for other hair. Was rather surprised that Amona was able to notice such minor details. Maybe it was because Amona herself was also living in a dungeon before she joined the party. Upon hearing this, Roan realized that apart from the fact that he and Amona are sharing their love, he practically knew nothing about her, nor her life, nor the reason why did she become a person who calls devil. Maybe she is not comfortable telling people about her past. That could be the reason she never told anyone why she was living in a dungeon. However, Roan realized that he should not give this thing a thought, as once he has gained the full trust of Amona, she will definitely tell him all about her past life. Suddenly, Roan realized that they were being followed by a demon. However, Amanda asked everyone to stay calm. The demon was basically the representative of this dungeon, and his name was Slimy Jr. Everyone was amazed at the fact that the dungeon even had a representative. Alona advised everyone to leave the representative alone, as he is basically harmless. However, as she was speaking, slimy tentacles of a demon caught her, and her spell book Rona used his magic and caused lighting, which made the tentacles drop Amona, but her book had been captured by the demon. Roan was advising her not to use her magic right next to her, as it could turn out pretty bad, but she was more focused about her magic book that was full of spells. Everyone saw no hope to retrieving the book back and told Amona to forget about it, as there is no hope in getting it back. However, this made Amona genuinely sad, and she frowned. Ron could not see Amona like this, hence he thought of a plan. He allowed himself to be caught by the demon, which took him to the same place that the book was. As he retrieved the book, he defeated the demon and went back to the party. The party was having trouble recognizing him until he handed Amona the book, gesturing the fact that as it was important for Amona, so it was important for him. Amona was quite pleased by such a display of bravery and respect. It was important to Amona, as it had been a memento that was given to her by her mentor. Everyone was now pleased with Ronnie K and how he rescued the spell book that stands so dear to Amona. As the party reached the depth of the dungeon, they found the treasure. The treasure, however, was empty, which made each and every one of them confused. They were debating what could this mean when they heard the voice saying the treasure had been discovered years ago by her. The treasure had made her lose everything, hence, so she was the one who gave them the quest to bring them here. She was not speaking to Amona. She blamed Amona that because of her she was transformed into a girl. As she took the mask off her face, it revealed a young cute lady. The cute girl used to be a boy by the name of Clark Lass. He was a great treasure hunter. A year ago, he would be able to defeat all types of tricks and get the treasure without any problem. He was getting so good that many people, even the higher authorities, had personally asked for his help, hence the reason he didn't notice how bad this treasure would be for him. When he approached this treasure, he was given the warning to turn back and not to open it no matter what to leave this place, otherwise he would be defeated by the devil, and his look will change. However, as he was a treasure hunter, he paid no attention to the warning and opened the treasure, but after opening it he found that treasure had nothing instead of a book with the words gender bending written on it. He didn't understand, but it was too late. The voice sighed and sounded disappointed that he paid no attention to the warnings and saw the book. Basically, this book was written by the person with the voice, and he was really confident that this book will be very popular. Hence, he made 1,000 copies, but was only about to sell 3 of them. However, as his secret is not a secret anymore, and Clark knew about it, he was defeated by him and turned him into a cute girl. Clark blamed him for all this doing. It was actually the imp. The devil. The imp tried to deny it by telling them not make him a suspect like this, as one should not believe everything that they hear. However, Amanda was not buying it. She never trusted the imp in the first place. Hara was having trouble believing the fact that how Clark was so sure it was Iman, as it could be any other devil too, but he explained that the form that Iman is an ego. The devil controls everything though in the devil realm, hence, it's all the same. He advised the imp to return himself back to normal, or else you will face the consequences. He came close to Amona and told imp that his master that being Amona would be injured otherwise. He knew no matter how selfish the imp may be, he would not want anything to happen to his master. Clark was really fast as he had hard training living in this dungeon for so long. He advised Amona not to use magic and requested the devil to change him back to his original self. However, the dungeon representative protected Amona from Clark. Ammon had just enough time to cause the ceiling to fall down on Clark, keeping him pinned to the floor. Amona and the imp were barely able to get out. All right, as soon as Clark got up, the tentacles demon caught him and pinned him to the ceiling. Clark had no idea what was happening. He, despite knowing a great deal about this dungeon, was being defeated. The imp seemed happy now that Clark had been caught by the tentacle demon and was quite pleased with himself. He was letting Clark know that it wasn't okay for him to make such demands from him, and he got what he deserved. However, Haru, being the kind girl, she has offered to help Clark provided that he won't harm them again. Clark told them that he had no intentions of harming them, and then he directed his attention to the imp. He warned him that he would be chasing the imp all his life until he changes him back to normal, and advised everyone to stay away from him if they want to live peacefully. The imp, however, wasn't taking this seriously and was telling him that anything can be dealt with when one is in the company of true friends who trust each other, friends that are always there to help you. However, Amona and the party have been frustrated, and they left the imp alone as a donation for others.